The Mayor of Casterbridge. We would be talking about the plot construction of The Mayor of Casterbridge by Thomas Hardy. Now, it has a very well construed plot, and Hardy is known for his construction of plots, as he did in Tess, as he did in Jude. His he has mastered the art of constructing plots, and this novel of Hardy has also famous for its tight, very well built plot. And it has, if we can say, for further division, we can say it has a main plot and it has a subplot. But since this is remarkable of Hardy, that his main characters or his heroes or heroines, they are at the center of his novels. Now in this Michael Henchard, who is the hero of this novel, he is at the center. So there is a symmetry and there is unity, and which is all which is woven around Hardy's one central character, that is Michael Henchard. And we see that as for the first scene and for the final scene, Michael Henchard is almost everywhere. So we have. For if we look at the character, we would find the unity of action also rises from the same character, because the same character is involved everywhere. The same character is involved in the main plot, and the same character is involved in the subplot. So, and if we talk of subplot as far as the Mayor of Casterbridge is concerned, it has a subplot, but its subplot is also so much connected to the main plot that we would say that subplot is there, but it is at the same point of time, it is so much submerged with the main plot that it loses its entity as a subplot. So it has a unity of action, because everything whatever happens or whatever action takes place, or there are characters in the novel, or if there is a story line in the novel, it is all at the end related to the main character. So we have Michael Henchard, who's in the first scene. He's so much drunk that is in an auction he sells his wife for just very small amount, and he sells his wife to some Newson, Richard Newson, who's a seller, and he is there, and he sells his wife and his daughter, both of them, to this seller. And when he's after the night, when he wakes up in the morning, he's full of remorse, and he takes a vow that he would not touch liquor in his life for another 21 years. So this is how this story begins. It begins with a very dramatic episode, and there are numbers of dramatic episodes throughout the novel. So as far as unity of action is concerned, most of the action is just related to the central character. He is the initiator. He is initiating the actions, and most of the actions rise from this characters and and how this character is basically, how this persona is basically, how Michael Henchard is basically. So he is a bundle of good and bad qualities, and most of the action flow from his own character. So we have a unity and symmetry of action. Then we have a unity of impression, where you would see that how all the characters or all the action is an outcome of Henchard's own faults or his own doings, or even his rise is his action, even his fall is his action. So this way, that there is unity of action, there is a unity of impression. Then we have the whole plot has been divided into four parts. If you ask for further division and for our own benefit, if we divide the whole novel, then we would divide it into four parts, which are major parts of the life of Michael Hanchett. And these parts are, his first part is, we have talked, that his first part is selling his own wife and taking a vow, and then his second part is, his progress, how he's become mayor of the town, how he's flourishing as a businessman, or how his business of crops is going. And the third part is when he meets his own wife, when he meets Elizabeth again, and he wants to marry Susan, and he wants to adopt Elizabeth as his own daughter. So this is the third part, when he's flourishing, but he takes a decision that he has been meeting a lady called Lucetta all this time, thinking that Susan is no more, or she's not there. So he's talking to this woman, and he's courting her, and he wants to get married to her. So he takes a decision that he has to leave Lucetta, and he has to marry Susan, and he has to adopt Elizabeth. And then there is fourth part, or the fourth part, which is winding up of the novel, winding up of the character, when everything is revealed about Michael Hanchett. There's a affirmative woman who's telling everybody that or telling the whole town that how this mayor is, and how he has sold his own wife. And then there is a reappearance of Newson on the scene, and he wants his own daughter back. We come to know that Elizabeth was not Michael Hanchett's daughter, she was Newson's daughter, and Susan wanted to convey this fact to Michael Hanchett, but she does not convey immediately. She writes all these things. The letter is there, and then the seal is broken, and Michael Hanchett reads the letter, and he's so much disappointed. He does not want Elizabeth anymore with him. Elizabeth is shifted to Lucetta, and she's there with Lucetta as a companion. And then Lucetta is also dejected in love, and she's no more with Michael Hanchett. And now Farfrae is there on the scene. Farfrae who was a suitor to Elizabeth, now is a suitor to Lucetta. So there are many dramatic incidents in the novel, and in the end, again Michael Hanchett tries to regain Elizabeth. He lies to Newson that Elizabeth is no more, and Newson comes to know. He comes back on the scene, and there is a lot of remorse, and there are so many tragic scenes where Lucetta commits suicide, where Michael Hanchett loses his life, and then there are descriptions of nature, the description of towns, their description of bridges. So all these descriptions there, they are somewhere binding the plot together. They are somewhere binding nature with the character. They are somewhere binding the action with the thought process or the psychological development of the characters. So when we talk of the plot of this novel, I would definitely like to comment that it has a very beautiful storyline, and the storyline is so interestingly presented to the readers that every action or every incident is so dramatically represented, right from the very first scene of selling his wife, then his Michael Hanchett's becoming of a mayor, or then the entry of Farfrae. That entry is itself very dramatic. He is in a problem, and Farfrae, a Scotchman, he solves his problems, and then how he comes to know about Elizabeth. The very return of Susan, and then how he breaks up with Lucetta, and then how he is, opening the letter of Susan, which contains the fact that Elizabeth is not his daughter. Then his Michael Henchard's letter to Lucetta, they become public, and there is a lot of drama and lot of sarcasm and fun, and there are rides which are taken. So they are so dramatic. At the same time, most of the things which are revealed with the course of plot, most of the things are painful, they are tragic. Every new happening or every new action is sort of unfolding of a new pain. So and basically, as I have already said, the character himself or herself is a plot in the novels of Thomas Hardy. So in this novel itself, the character of Michael Henchard is supreme. He's above the plot. He's above the story. The story is his own story. The plot or the action is action about his own life, or is action about his own thought process, or the changes which come in his own personality, or how he was initially, or how he developed, or how he grows as a person. Or we can say sometimes that he has grown or is mellowed down, but somewhere some faults of his character remain in his personality, and we overlook those faults because he's such a beautiful character, and he meets such a tragic end that we all sympathize with him. So if we talk of plot, we have to talk of character of Michael Henchard, because or if we talk of story, or if we talk of action, unity of action, or unity of impression, or unity of time, it is all about Michael Henchard. It does not go beyond him. So his plot is part and parcel of the main character which he has shown in his novel. Thank you.